Nico Paz has been one of the breakout midfielders in all of Europe this season, but instead of talking about his rise, we're going to ask another question. Is Nico Paz about to get screwed by his own contract? Because Real Madrid wants him back, and I'm not sure that's the best thing for his career. We're going to talk about it next here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub. If you follow the channel, you know how much we love Wonder Kids, and Nico Paz has become one of the most exciting Wonder Kids in all of Europe this season, helping to lead Como in their newly promoted season out of the relegation battle into the middle of the table. 6 goals, 8 assists under the direction of Cesc Fabregas. He's only 20. He comes with the creativity that you typically don't see at that age, and he is definitely built for a bigger stage than Como can probably offer. But that'll be one day. Should it be next year? And that's not a question we should have to be asking yet, but we do, because he was sold from Real Madrid to Como under some of the most team-friendly terms you've ever seen. And by team, I mean Real Madrid. When they sold him to Como, they made sure they were going to have a chance to get him back. And now Real Madrid's new incoming manager, Xabi Alonso, reportedly wants Paz in his squad for next season. If you're Nico Paz, that sounds like a dream, right? You get to go back to Real Madrid? Well, not if you want to play. And that's the catch. He's in for a major payday if he goes back to Real Madrid, but it may and almost certainly will come at the expense of a lot of minutes on the pitch. Is that what's best for Paz? We're going to talk about that next, but before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel. Get in the comment section, where do you think Paz should be next season? Should he stay at Como for another year? Is he ready to go back to Real Madrid? Can they offer him what he needs, or should he be somewhere else altogether? Because there's lots of interest in Paz all over Europe. But get in that comment section, let me know what you think. You can also leave some comments on Twitter and Blue Sky at Pitchside Pub, and check out the website pitchsidepub.com. So there's a reason they call it the dream return. When Real Madrid comes calling, you rarely say no because they almost never call a second time. It's one of the most prestigious addresses in all of football at a place where legends are made. And for Nico Paz, a 20-year-old Argentinian tearing up Serie A, the idea of returning to Madrid probably feels like a coronation. But there's a catch. The Real Madrid first team isn't just prestigious, it's packed. In those attacking positions, he's competing with Rodrigo, Vinny Jr., Jude Bellingham for starting spots, none of whom he's probably going to be overtaking just now. And he's got Arda Güler and he's got Brahim Diaz already in those reserve roles, neither of whom got enough minutes to begin with this season. And if nothing changes, he'd be competing with all of those players for playing time next season. Now, some of those guys could be on the move. There's rumors for Rodrigo all over Europe. Arda Güler definitely wants to play more, so that reserve spot could open up. Brahim Diaz is probably worthy of playing more. He might be looking at coming into Rodrigo's spot if Rodrigo were to leave, but there's also the possibility of other players coming in from the outside. But what Brahim Diaz and Arda Güler had in their roles last season is a good comp for what you could expect from Nico Paz if he were to come to Real Madrid. Brahim Diaz played 50 times across all competitions, but only 22 were starts. He came on as a substitute often and played in a lot of the cup ties. Arda Güler, still only 19, had 41 appearances but just 17 starts. He only got 1,700 minutes for the entire season across all competitions. These aren't bench warmers, these are very talented players and key rotational pieces, but even if one of them left, or both of them, that's the sort of role that we could expect for Nico Paz next season at Real Madrid, assuming the big 3 or 4 up top are still intact. We're looking at somewhere between 1,500 and maybe 2,200 minutes across competitions, used as a sub, playing in some of the cup ties, playing maybe a little bit in the group stages of the Champions League against lesser competition. That's where he'd get his starts, but that's a downgrade from the role he's been playing at Como, and that's before you factor in the fact that they're going to be playing a different style this year. Xabi Alonso's coming in. He is most likely going to continue to run his 3-4-2-1 that gave him success at Bayer Leverkusen. Now we don't have the wings where Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr. typically reside, they're going to play 2 10s and rely on the wingbacks for depth. So now you really only have 3 attackers up top, unless you expect somebody like Nico Paz to drop back deeper into a more holding or central midfield role, and that's really not his expertise. He's more of the 10 or attacking midfielder, similar to Brahim Diaz, similar to Arda Güler. So now we've only got 3 attacking positions really for those guys to take up. Now Jude Bellingham may slide deeper into the 6-8 sort of role, depending on how this lines up with Alonso, but regardless of the actual specifics, there may be one fewer attacking spot for these guys to all compete for minutes with, and that's going to make it even harder for Paz to get minutes in this really deep Real Madrid squad. And this isn't just theoretical. Look at Endrick. He's one of the most hyped Brazilian teenagers in a decade. Real Madrid committed $35 million up front to sign him, and he started only 8 games and played just 863 minutes all season. That's less than 10 full matches. So yeah, Real Madrid is a dream. It's iconic. It's a destination that every player wants to play for, and he's already had a taste coming up in their system. I'm sure Nico Paz has dreamt of playing for Real Madrid for most of his professional career. But how much playing will he actually get to do? He just had a breakout season with Como, playing a ton of minutes, being a regular starter. That is almost certainly not going to be his role at Real Madrid, and we do have to ask if that's the best thing for his development. Now let's make something very clear. Como cannot stop Real Madrid from buying Nico Paz back if they want to. That was part of what they negotiated. Como purchased Paz for 6 million euros from Real Madrid this past season, and they have escalating buyback clauses year after year. This summer it's only 9 million, and it goes up over the next couple summers. So at any point, Real Madrid can just purchase Paz back, and there's nothing Como can do about it. But it's not only Real Madrid's decision either, because for any move to happen, Nico Paz has to agree to personal terms. So while it's true that Como can't block the deal, Paz himself does have to sign off on it, and that's where the money comes in. A move from Como to Real Madrid would be an unbelievable pay raise for a young player. Let's say Nico Paz makes the bold choice and turns down the prestige for the playing time. It's probably the best move for his development, but it's definitely not the best move for his wallet. He would be turning down a massive payday. He only made 930,000 euros this year at Como, whereas similar players for Real Madrid, Brahim Diaz made 7.29 million, Arda Güler made 5.2 million, and Endrick made 4.16 million euros this past season. Now, in order to convince him to stay, Como would almost certainly have to give him a contract extension and a massive raise. But how massive can they give it? Como's highest paid player makes under 7 million euros. That would put him 18th highest on Real Madrid's wage bill. There's almost nothing Como can do that would compete with what Real Madrid could offer Nico Paz. It's awfully tough to expect a 20-year-old to make that decision and say, I want to stay at the club that's better for my development, and I'm going to turn down, 4 or 5 million euros per year. That's the generational wealth. That's the life-changing money. That's the never have to work again after football kind of money. And to have that sort of foresight and bet on himself and turn that down, even with a raise at Como, let's say they could get him to 2.5, 3 million euros, somewhere in that range, that's still really hard to turn down, along with the dream of playing at Real Madrid. Now for Como, there's really no good outcome. Even if Nico Paz elects to stay this year, we're probably just going to be going down this same road and having the same conversation next year. If he continues to develop, Real Madrid will want to buy him at the escalated buyback clause next summer as well. So at some point, Como is going to lose him. Now they could sell him off to another club for a big fee. He's estimated to be around 40 million on the open transfer market, and there are a lot of clubs who are perfectly interested in him at that level. But Real Madrid have a 50% sell-on clause, so if they sold him somewhere else for 40 million, they've got to give Real Madrid 20 million of it anyway, and that's only if Real Madrid don't activate their buyback clause first, and if for some reason Nico Paz did not want to go there. So having him reject Real Madrid is a bit of a long shot, although he could theoretically choose to go to another club better than Como that could offer him European football, but also offer him the playing time he's having at Como. That is a possibility, but if that happens, Como still has to give half of their payday back to Real Madrid. Now that would be better than the $3 million they're going to make selling him back to Real Madrid at 9 after purchasing him at 6, but hey, that would at least be a little bit more money to reinvest. That's probably Como's best case scenario. It's also probably the most unlikely one. Paz has the choice here. He's going to have to decide if he wants to stay at Como and develop for another year and postpone the payday a little bit, or if he wants to go back to Real Madrid and hope that a spot opens up. If I'm Paz, I'm waiting. I want to see what happens with Arda Güler. I want to see what happens with Brahim Diaz, with Rodrigo, some of these other players. He could be absolutely magnificent as a number 10 in Xabi Alonso's 3-4-2-1 system, but who's he going to be paired up with and how much playing time is he going to get? Those are the questions he's going to need answered. They have to open up the roster a little bit. They have to create some space and some playing time for him, or else his development could really stagnate. As prestigious as playing at Real Madrid is, it doesn't matter if you're not playing. So what should he do? What should Nico Paz do? What should Como do? What should Real Madrid do? Get down in that comment section. Let me know your thoughts. You can also leave some comments on Twitter and Blue Sky at Pitchside Pub. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel and check out the website pitchsidepub.com. Thanks as always for joining us here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub.